Hey man, I'm Jusko from ProbMoney.com. My Wells Fargo Autograph Visa credit card has shown up, and in this video we're going to do an unboxing of it, or an unwhite enveloping as the case might be. Before we do, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you've not already, and if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So my Wells Fargo Autograph Visa showed up yesterday, and I'm going to take it out of the white envelope in a moment for you, but before I do that, I'm going to tell you about two pieces of mail that actually showed up from Wells Fargo before the card came. First off was this piece of mail saying yes, you are approved, but also telling me something interesting that I did not get when I first was approved. Did not get this message. So I said in my previous video when I was approved that I got a credit limit of $28,500, which I thought was pretty high considering I had a $10,000 limit on the old Wells Fargo Propel American Express card, which is a very similar card to the new Autograph Visa. Well, what this letter is telling me is we noticed that you haven't used your Propel American Express card recently. So what we did is we took $8,500 off the old Propel card's credit limit, put it onto the new card. It didn't close the old card, left $1,500 of credit line on it, but put $8,500 onto there. So that $28,500 I got, actually I guess would have initially been $20,000. They tacked on another $8,500, which they pulled from the old Wells Fargo Propel card. And then the second piece of mail, and I'm not sure why they send these in separate packages instead of putting it all together. Maybe they have to come from different places internally in Wells Fargo. But anyway, this one is telling me a little bit more about my approval itself. And so what it is telling me is exactly what my credit score was and where they pulled it from. So Wells Fargo, and hopefully you can see that, they are saying that I have an 838 credit score and that they pulled it from Experian. Now what's interesting to me about this score, other than how good it is the fact that they say further on down in the letter that your FICO scores go from 300 to 850, that is the range, and so that would suggest that I have an 838 out of 850. But when I go into my FICO and I take a look there, it looks to me like that 838 was maybe my Bank Card 9 score from FICO, and that scale actually goes up to 900 instead of 850, because when I look at my regular FICO 8 score, I don't see an 838 being something that I had from Experian in the recent past. But anyway, my scores did go down a little bit. I did have a hard inquiry when I went after this card. When I made my previous video about applying for it, I said I wasn't sure because I didn't get any alerts on it. But yes, I did have a hard inquiry, and now I have a new account. So on Experian, I've got a bit of a slide in my score. It looks like about an 8-point slide I had between the inquiry and the new account. So a little bit of a slide, but I assume after a couple of months that Experian will go back down. Experian, by far my lowest credit score of the three, at least on the bank card scores, and actually on the regular FICO 8 score as well. All right, let's open her up. As you can see, I already have like some kind of crazed saber-toothed tiger. Anyway, the envelope comes from the hardworking folks in Omaha, Nebraska, which I hear is a great town. I have not made it there yet. Let's see what is inside. Like I said, just a flimsy white envelope. So here is our first page, which is what the card is actually on, and we'll take a look at what is on there. It's sort of like, it's not just a one-pager, it actually opens up here. So what you have on the outside is you've got your credit line showing the $28,500. Not a whole lot else, to be honest with you, other than a lot of numbers that I had to black out because I don't know what they all mean. So let's pull that baby off, and then we'll pull the card off as well. The card itself feels kind of hard. I guess it's metal. Metal cards are getting harder and harder to sort of figure these days. I think a lot of them are like metal with a coating on top. Let's pull that off of there and we'll give you a closer look, and I can actually feel it a little more. Yeah, it's not as flimsy as a plastic card, but it's certainly not like, you know, the American Express Platinum or anything like that. So I think it's one of those, almost feels like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, or maybe a little bit like the old Wells Fargo Propel in terms of how it is in terms of weight. So you can check that out. See if I can get that light to hit it in the right way. Get my fat head out of the way. All your key numbers are in the back of the card, so I can't show much to you, but there is an exciting silver strip. This actually opens up. It's really just a lot of marketing stuff. Now you might say to yourself, why do they send all this marketing stuff along when you've already decided that you wanted the card and they've already sent it to you. Well, obviously they want you to use the card, so they also want you to kind of like get into the rhythm with it here and start using it as soon as possible, because the longer it takes for you to use it, probably the more likelihood that you're not going to use it, or at least not use it very much. So the things they sort of highlight here: number one, the digital wallet, they want it in there. They also highlight the cell phone protection because they want you to put your cell phone service onto this card, which obviously is going to make them some money. And as long as, you know, the numbers work out and not too many people screw up on their cell phones, they won't have to use that insurance. That will be nice to have your cell phone service on the card. And then finally, they obviously, like everyone, they want you to download the app. And then there's some other stuff on here as well. And then they talk about the 3 points per dollar on all those many categories from the Autograph Visa. And on the back, a lot of legalese. All right, next up here is a sheet that tells me my interest rate. It also tells me that I have a 0% rate for the first 12 months, and then it's going to be 16.49% after that. That's 16.49%. Variable APR. Variable means that your rates could vary. So by the time a year is up, that 16.49% rate could be higher, because when federal interest rates go up, variable APR cards go right up with them. So probably all of the credit cards that you have, or at least the vast majority of them, have the same thing with the variable APR. So those interest rates may be going up again soon. So if you're carrying a balance, that's not a great thing. Now, this next piece of paper is kind of interesting to me. It's not something I've seen from Wells Fargo before. It says, did you know you can move available credit lines between your cards? And that means between Wells Fargo cards. And what they suggest on why you might do that is, if you had a very big purchase, you might want to combine credit lines onto one card and put that bigger purchase on there if your credit line wasn't big enough to handle it, or if you had to transfer a big balance from some other card from a different bank onto your Wells Fargo card. If you had multiple Wells Fargo cards, you could take a piece of the balance from one card and stick it on the other, so that you had enough room in order to do that balance transfer. And then the rest of the stuff, pretty boring and pretty boilerplate. You have the page that tells you how they are going to share your information for marketing, both within their company and with other companies. And if you want to do anything about it, you can write to them and you can stop them from doing some of this sharing of your information, but some of it you're just stuck with. Then we've got the consumer credit card agreement, which is really the most boring part of anything when it comes to credit cards. It's going to tell you about your interest rate, but then it's also going to tell you about things like arbitration and, disputes of anything, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of funny they make it look like it's this nice little booklet, but in truth, it is like a big, crazy poster. You would probably want to poke your eyes out if you ever actually had to sit and read it all. And then finally, you have your Wells Fargo rewards terms and conditions. If you are like me, you'll probably read this after the fact when you suddenly realize you have a question about how the rewards work. There's a lot of information in here, but again, this looks like a booklet, but turns into a big black and white poster suitable for framing. Now, getting the Wells Fargo Autograph Visa has put a little bit of a wrench in my plans for the third quarter in terms of optimizing all of my rewards. I still will be optimizing my rewards, but I'll be spending that first $1,500 at least on this card in order to make sure that I get that 30,000 point or $300 bonus that comes with the card. And so some of those other cards where I was going to get 5% on gas and 5% on groceries, all that kind of stuff, those are maybe going to get used partially in the third quarter, but some of them are going to get pushed to the side, because $300 on $1,500 worth of purchases is 20%, and you can be sure I am going to make sure to get this bonus. All right, I'm not sure why I came back over on this side, because the video is over. If you have any questions or comments, put them in that comment section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching. And as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews. We talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you're not going to go to my website, if you're not going to leave a comment below, I'd appreciate it if you'd watch this video.